Hello, my name is Tim Kenny from Tim Kenny Surveying, and I just thought I'd record this short video today to talk a little bit about report writing, and in particular report writing style. So, as a residential surveyor, the main part of my job and any other residential surveyor is to take the information that they gather about a property and put that down into a written report that our client can then take away, read, understand, and make informed decisions on. And of course, it's important to do that in a professional way, to get the information across concisely, clearly, jargon-free where possible. And also, we need to think about some of the language you use. See, heart and large, part of that case rested on the difference between the word must and should, and what that can mean for a client. So these things are important. But there's another aspect that I really wanted to talk about today, and that's kind of style and personality within a report, which actually I think are quite important as well, particularly for me as an individual surveyor, as an independent surveyor. When I sell my services, I'm selling me to my client, more or less. I'm not selling standards, I'm not selling anything else. I'm selling me as the individual who they're going to deal with. And therefore the reports need to reflect that. And this is something that kind of really came home to me when I was actually reading a report by another surveyor. Now, I think it's a great thing for all surveyors to do, is to read other surveyors' reports. It's great to get someone else's, you kind of get that impression of what someone else provides in a report, not just to kind of look for good key phrases and technical terms and stuff that you might learn from, but also look to see how they present things. And whether you agree with that or not, or whether you agree with how they presented something, you can still learn something from it. In this report, it was a very different presentational format to the one I use, which I might describe as a little bit more dated, maybe a little bit less easy to use than some of the more reporting formats, but it was effective in itself. I could kind of talk a little bit about some of the content of it and some things that I would disagree with. As a surveyor, we all disagree with anything anybody ever done. We like to disagree. It's kind of how we normally work. But there was one thing that I think was actually oddly very similar about this report, and that was that the surveyor had written in their own voice. It came across very clearly that this was a person. It was an individual who was writing this report in their style, in their tone, and it was very personal. It didn't kind of feel like just this automatically generated report based on a lot of standard phrases, standard text. Now, I assume there were probably some standard text within that report. We all use it. It's a really useful tool. But they'd made sure their standard text was in their voice. They personalised it. They made it work well for them. Now, I will say that the tone of voice they used probably very different from mine. Not how I would phrase things, but mine is very similar. I like to make sure that I'm saying it in the way that I say it. I'm not trying to just give them the kind of almost like computer speak version of a survey report. I try and put me as a person into that report. I say things in the way that I would say them. If I was talking to the client on the phone, I would say things in very much the same way that I put it in a report. So kind of my whole kind of thought and the whole purpose behind this video is to just say to people, say to surveyors and say to all of those training and hoping to be surveyors, don't just fall into this trap of saying, okay, well, I have to use these stock standard phrases, this really professional way of saying it. You can be professional and you can also have personality as well. Yeah, make sure you're being concise. Make sure you're getting the jargon out of it as much as possible. Make sure you're being accurate in what you say. But don't be scared to be a person in that report as well. Even where you might be writing in the third person, as we generally do with a survey report. Don't be afraid to let some of who you are appear in that report, because that is going to reassure your client that they're actually engaging with you through that report. They're not just getting this kind of standard document that almost feels like it's just been copied and pasted out of your standard text. Because I think that is realistically the service that most clients are kind of, I suppose, expecting when they engage an independent, like the way I work, and like the way many other people work. As I said at the beginning, I sell my services. Well, I don't sell my services, I sell myself. I say this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I can do for you, and that's what clients are buying. They're buying my time. They're not buying a standard survey product. So I feel it's quite important to make sure that comes across in the report. hopefully that's useful for you, but, you know, work with it and see what you want to do. Thank you very much.